The Merrell Twins and all their racist moments, but this time with explanations. She says here, let's create a world where people can't get away with being racist. Okay, let's start with you then, shall we? Here's all their racism. The exact same video as the racist compilation, but this time with full explanations on why it's racist. Obvious racism.
And like, if we got those monoliths, well, if you look at when we were children, like babies, we looked super Asian, Chinese, or something.
You have more, I have more Asian eyes.
This is what the post says for anyone who's a little lazy to read. Got to sleep in today. Look who joined me this morning again. Honestly, I look high in this picture, but I literally just woke up. Also, you can definitely see the Filipino in my eyes in the mornings. I've also been told I look like a 12-year-old Chinese girl when I just wake up. So there's that. Have a good day.
Well, if you look at when we were children, like babies, we looked super Asian, Chinese, or something.
I think this part is pretty explanatory why it's racist. They are not Asian or Chinese, so for them to say, we looked super Asian, super Chinese, is really offensive and racist. It's no different than someone saying they looked super black or super Mexican as a baby, when they are not of those ethnicities. And just because you think you look a certain race, doesn't mean you are that race. Lucy Hale looks Latin, but she's full white. Just because she looks Latin, doesn't mean she can just start claiming she's Latin, when she's not. They're ignorant to think they can do that. Oh wait, they did do that. Shake my head.
I have more Asian eyes.
This also pretty explanatory. I also did a full explanation on why this is racist in my Merrell Twins are ignorant about their racism. If you don't fully get why this is racist or wrong, just go watch that video. But here's a quick sum up on why it's racist. If I can't say, my eyes look more like black people than yours, or my eyes are more Mexican than yours, then why would it be okay for them to say, I have more Asian eyes than you, mostly when they're not Asian? That should be able to show why it's racist. If not, remember my other video. And this might help too. Asian eyes, as if a whole continent, with 48 countries, all have one eye shape.
And like, if we got those monoliths, well, if you—
I'll let Shirley Zamoe explain why what they said here is wrong.
So, white people don't have monoliths, period. There isn't one white person who has that. That is solely an Asian, Native American, Inuit, and African trait.
And like, if we got those monoliths, well, if you—
Even science can prove how they don't have monolids.
The biggest problem here is that European and East Asian skulls are very, very different from each other. We East Asians have broader, flatter faces. Our brow ridge is usually very even and flat. We lack definition in brow bone. We have more prominent cheekbones. The bone around the eye socket is flat and even like the brow bone, and this, of course, affects the depth of the eyes. Now, when you look at the Caucasian skull, you notice how almost every bone is protruding forwards, especially the brow ridge.
I don't think she gave me eyelids. But she gave me eyelids. I don't really have eyelids. Let me see. I don't really have eyelids either, but she gave me some. We have eyelids, but like you can't ever really see them because our eyelids like kind of like disappear into our sockets. Like when I do this, you can see them. And like when I do this, they just like they're gone. Anyways.
Their eyelids disappear, because they have Caucasian skulls, aka white people skull. Exactly like what Roni admits, that their eyelids disappears into their eye socket. So it's not monolids, it's because they're white, so they have white people skulls because guess what, they're white.
Because our eyelids like kind of like disappear into our sockets.
Now when you look at the Caucasian skull, you notice how almost every bone is protruding forwards, especially the brow ridge.
And here's their fake excuse for why they kept saying they have Asian eyes.
I've always been told that I have more Asian eyes than Ronnie. So I just thought I would repeat what people would say and that it would be okay to say that. And to this day, people still tell me I look more Asian than Ronnie. So yeah, so we're very sorry that by me saying those things, if that has offended anyone. I was just repeating what people have always told me my whole life.
But then when I looked into her responses, I was like, Oh, so instead of admitting that she photoshops her crease away, she defended herself in the most stupidest way.
Just like with the Merrell Twins, they defended themselves in the most stupidest way, instead of taking responsibility for their own stereotypical racism.
And then she responds, I understand this. I support educating people on this when they are doing something wrong. I'm trying to explain that I do not give myself monoliths. At certain angles, my crease is not visible. At some angles, it is. This is just how my eyes are. I don't think European eyes work like that.
And we've even had like makeup artists comment about like the shape of our eyes and stuff. And just, I don't know. So we can't help the way we look, and this is how God made us. And we've just learned to embrace our looks.
This is just how my eyes are. I don't think European eyes work like that.
And I was just repeating what people have always told me my whole life.
She defended herself in the most stupidest way.
Just accept it. You're white, you can never be Asian, so you can never have Asian eyes. And for anyone ready to argue, they're not full white, and that they are also Latin and Asian, they are not Asian. No Asian would ever say this, mostly one that claimed they were Filipino.
Waki Shaki said, I'm Asian but brown kind. See, there's so many different types of Asian, and like growing up, we didn't know that. Like,
we didn't associate Asian being that.
Because that's just how it was just taught where we were.
Yeah, where we taught, that's how it was like.
Yeah.
In some of those videos, there were people saying that we were, claiming we were Asian, when I thought Filipino is Asian.
Are you part Asian? I think so.
Nuh-uh.
I thought it was Pacific Islander.
And some people don't consider it. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that.
I think so.
Nuh-uh.
I thought it was Pacific Islander.
Everyone's saying that, they're all saying that it's part of Asia, so they are considered Asian. See? Well,
I thought it was Pacific Islander.
see? Well,
But then there's people who don't think it is.
I think so.
Nuh-uh.
I thought it was Pacific Islander.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. People are
I'm
like,
very
it's
confused.
not Asian. And
I'm very
it's
confused.
not Asian. And
I thought it was Pacific Islander.
as I've gotten older, I realized there's way more than just Asians that we thought were Asians, because the word Asian actually represents a ton of other people. So
And there's like a lot of people,
people have-
including us, we grew up not realizing
realizing
that.
that.
And people even around us grew up not knowing that. So you don't learn this stuff in school. You have to teach it to yourself. Like, I learned it in college. You don't learn this stuff in school. You have to teach it to yourself. I learned it in college that Asian Americans get treated terribly.
They didn't think brown people were Asian? But who is considered brown Asian? Brown Asians include Filipinos, South and Southeast Asians, David says. So they claimed to be Filipino, but they didn't consider brown people Asian, but Filipinos are brown Asians.
And all we know is that we are Spanish, Mexican, Portuguese, Filipino, German, and Irish. And some people don't consider Filipino Asian, when I thought Filipino is Asian.
Waki Shaki said, I'm Asian but brown kind. See, there's so many different types of Asian, and like growing up, we didn't know that. Like,
We didn't associate Asian being that.
because that's just how it was just taught where we were.
Yeah, where we taught, that's how it was like.
They were taught what Asians looked like. What Asian is taught what their own race looks like. That's like saying I'm Mexican and I was taught Mexicans looked a certain way. Also, how can you be Asian, but not know that Asians were discriminated against? How are you going to say that you had to learn about it in school? That's like claiming to be black and saying, I didn't know the Confederate flag was a bad thing. Or, claiming to be Native American and saying, I didn't know Thanksgiving was bad.
I learned it in college that Asian Americans get treated terribly.
How could you not know these important facts, but claim you are one of us? No real Asian would ever say some of the things they said. So no, they are not Asian.
Do you honestly think Asians won't notice that? Let me tell you, Asians will not only notice that, they will find you pathetic and they will avoid you as if you're the freaking plague. Seriously.
Thank you, Shirley Moe, for explaining that so well. And they're not even Latin. They say they're German, Irish, Spanish, Portuguese, and Mexican, but are mainly Spanish.
Ethnicity white, we're also half like Spanish.
We're more Spanish than anything.
Yeah, we're more Spanish.
As you can see, they're more Spanish than anything, meaning they're mostly white. Spanish, aka Spain, is a European country, which is a Caucasian country, meaning they're literally full white. So me saying they're white is actually correct and factual, because they're basically full white, so where am I wrong? And people who think Spain aka Spanish people are Latin. So I'm correct when I say they are mainly white, because that's what they are. As much as they hate to identify themselves as white, and try so hard to be every other race than what they actually are, it is what they are. Words of advice.
So embarrassing. Just be happy with what race you are.
Be proud. There's nothing wrong with being European, African, or Asian. We are all unique and special. Yes, we are.
Don't fake your ethnicity. Don't be such a loser, man.
Them saying they have more Asian eyes or I have Chinese eyes, is pretty explanatory why it's racist. It's pretty straightforward why it's racist. If you're not Asian, which we know they are not, there is no reason for them to be saying that. Just like I wouldn't say, I have white people eyes, or black people eyes, or etc. Don't normalize Asian racism. Not all Asians have small eyes. Asian eyes, as if a whole continent, with 48 countries, all have one eye shape. And for the Merrell Twins to keep saying they have Asian eyes, which they allude to small, when they have such naturally big eyes, here are pics and videos to prove that. Look at how huge her eyes are, and it's from the side. They're huge. I'm putting more attention on Vanessa, because she's the one who always says she has more Asian eyes than Roni. Do you guys see how delusional they are? Their eyes are huge AF, but they think they have small Asian eyes, just because of K-pop. Also, you can definitely see the Filipino in my eyes in the mornings. I've also been told I look like a 12-year-old Chinese girl, when I just wake up. So there's that. As you can see, she alludes her squinting eyes to looking Chinese. So they do believe that small eyes equates to Asian eyes. So for anyone ready to argue against that, well, now you can't. Some of you are going to say, it's the makeup, or the makeup made their eyes bigger. Let's check that out, shall we? Even the girl in the back has smaller eyes than her. The girl in the back isn't Asian either. No makeup, eyes still huge AF. Don't argue, it's because they're reading looking up, while he or she's reading looking down, but her eyes are still huge AF. Their eyes only get small when they laugh, but whose eyes doesn't get small when they laugh? I'll show examples in bit. Here's pics of them smiling. Even when their smiles are big, their eyes are still not small. Again, it's only when they laugh. And again, the pics are mainly of Vanessa, because she's the one who keeps insisting she has more Asian eyes. But in reality, her eyes are bigger than her sister's. It's sad, she's so desperate. Just emphasizing that all these people have small eyes, even smaller than theirs, mostly the full white guy at the top. Even with the biggest smile, their eyes don't get small. But when they're laughing, that's when their eyes become small. Like I said, their eyes only get small when they laugh, but whose doesn't? I mean, look at their group of friends and them smiling. All their eyes look small, showing that all eyes, no matter what race, get small when laughing or smiling. Actually, their eyes were the biggest in this pic, so does that make their friends more Asian than them, because their eyes are smaller? And it proves my point, that all eyes, no matter what race, get smaller when they laugh. I'll show more examples. As you can see, their eyes aren't small at all, they're actually really huge. And just for anyone like the Merrell Twins, who think this way because of their ignorance and racist mindset, Asians are not the only people with small eyes. Let's start with Caucasians. And here are Caucasians with big eyes. Watch when they laugh and smile, their eyes become small too. All of them had super big eyes, but only got smaller because of laughing and smiling, exactly the same as the Merrell Twins. Showing that I was right when I said, people's eyes get smaller when they laugh. It's facts. And now Latin people with small eyes. Even Latin people can have naturally small eyes. And here are Latin people with big eyes, who when they laugh and smile, their eyes become small too. As you can see, all of them have naturally big eyes, just like the Merrell twins, but got smaller when laughing and smiling, just the same as theirs too. Meaning that all eyes get smaller when laughing and smiling. The Merrell twins' eyes aren't small at all, as you saw in all their pics, it's only small when they laugh, so for them to say, "I have Asian eyes," just because of that, is so ignorant and racist, mostly when they have such big eyes. They were just so desperate to be Asian, that they made themselves believe they had small eyes, when we all can clearly see that they don't. And for anyone who's going to try and argue, how can your eyes get smaller, if you have big eyes? Well, now you see it can. Can't make that excuse for them. So as you can all see, them saying they have more Asian eyes, we looked super Chinese. When I look high I look Chinese. We have monolids, when they don't, is all super racist, and you can't deny or pretend it wasn't. And for them to make excuses like, repeating what other people said to them, are all just bull's tea. They were racist, and instead of just apologizing for it, they made excuses. End of part 1. Go to the next part.